Here's a couple of good questions that deal with solutions. First one, I'm given a concentration and a volume, and I'm given another concentration right there, and I'm looking for a volume. So use this formula, divide by C2, perfect. So you get to 0.200 liters. So that's the final volume of the solution. And so that would be, what will the final volume have to be? That's 0.200, perfect. But then they say, how much water would you have to add? So if your final volume is 0.200 liters, and your initial volume was 0.050 liters, then you just have to subtract that. So I think it would come out to 0.150 liters, or you could say 150 milliliters, and that's how much you'd have to add to the solution. Okay, so you started in the beaker with 50 mils, and then they brought it up to 200 mils, and you're wondering how much you have to add, so you just subtract those two. Here's another good question. Consider the reaction, unbalanced reaction. Let me just make sure you're balanced, right? So 4 ends, 12 hydrogens, 12 hydrogens. 4 plus 6, that's 10 oxygens, all balanced. For every 4.34 moles of ammonia, so 4.34 moles of ammonia, so what I need, let me do this again. So 4.34 moles of ammonia times, and then I'm going to do a mole ratio, and I'm going to use the mole ratio with these numbers here for whichever ones that are involved in the question. So for every 4 moles of ammonia, that's this number, they want oxygen, so I have to use this number. I need 5 moles of oxygen. So I start with the number they gave me, and then I can multiply by this ratio to figure out how much oxygen I'll need. So just go 4.34 times 5 divided by 4. I'm not sure what that comes out to, but you can figure that out. The other thing, just related to that, we did a question like this. Calcium chloride dissociates to calcium ions plus chloride ions, 2 chloride ions. And I said, well, if the concentration of this is 0.5, since this is 1 to 1, this one would also be 0.5, but then this one would be double 0.5, or whatever 1.0 is. And you could figure these numbers out using the same method here. So if they say I start with 0.5 moles of calcium chloride, and they say how much chloride ions are there, so then you'd say, well, 1 mole of calcium chloride will form 2 moles of chloride ions. So the moles of calcium chloride cancel. I take this, I times it by 2, and I get the 1. Hopefully that helps you out with that ratio thing and figuring out how much of something you need given a certain amount of something else.